that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.
Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glenn Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both the match attending and international supporters view. How you doing, Glenn?
Yeah, good, mate. Doing well. I was just mentioning to you off air. I attended the Formula One yesterday here in Melbourne. It's the Oz GP at the moment. It was a good day, despite it being absolutely bonkers hot. It was 35 degrees in the height of the day, and we were in the sun for plenty of it. So lots of hydration. But no, it was good. And then my son and my wife are off to it again right now for Sunday's event, and it's going to be 16 and rain. So that is a little window into Melbourne's autumn.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, all over the place. But I'm good, mate. I'm good. I very much enjoyed the Alkmaar game. But I'm keen to hear from you. You attended, mate. How are you going? And you attended the game. How was it?
I did. I enjoyed it a lot. I had a really good evening. So I met Rico, my next door but one neighbour, who I'd known for quite a long time. He's my neighbour since I've lived in this house for 15 years. But also he coaches both of his boys' teams at Yateley United.
Yeah.
He was there with his friend Richard, who also coaches one of the teams with him. And I think he's actually has a coaching job as well. They're nice guys, a pair of them. I met them in the kebab shop beforehand, sat down and had a meal. They got there a little bit before me, but that was nice just to chat. And we had a look around the mega store, mostly looking at all the vintage stuff.
Do they have them framed in the mega store, like all the old shirts?
No, they have all the replicas are available to buy.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So you can get everything from my original 1978 Admiral home shirt, which I have to say that the replica's better material than the original one was, all the way up to the modern kits. But they've got, I think it was the 97 away kit, which was was it Pony one?
That was Pony, yeah.
Yeah, with that sort of not royal boot, but blue with the cream sleeves or something like that.
Yeah.
But when it was the one with the season where Klinsmann came back on the second time, I've got Klinsmann 37 on the back. They had everything you can think of. Even some of the jackets, they've got some of the older tracksuit tops and jackets. Some cool gear. I could spend quite a lot of money there quite easily.
Yeah, I've got a ridiculous amount of Tottenham Southern, just general football retro stuff, and I've got a few of the jackets and various bits. But my favourite two shirts, since we're on the topic, and we didn't wear them very often, but my favourite two shirts were the one Adidas shirt that we wore in the League Cup final when we lost to Blackburn, and we seldom wore it. It was it was like the darker blue with the yellow sleeves, I think, and it had the Adidas. It was a really nice, sharp looking kit.
Late 97, something like that, was it? Or
a bit later than that. It was
99.
It's Tim.
Oh, really?
It would be a Tim Sherwood. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That era. I want to say we wore it maybe twice or three times. And I really liked it. And the other one I really liked was further back than that, but the yellow with the Umbro kind of sleeve, the one that we played Sunderland away in the 95 FA Cup run, and Klinsmann and Sheringham were playing in it.
I think I know the one you mean. It's got like the dark blue sort of hat.
Yeah, dark blue in
the shoulder.
The one Rosenthal scored the hat-trick in.
Yeah. Cool.
That's
like that
always one of my favourites.
Yeah. So I know the one.
Yeah, I can certainly get on board with that nostalgia and dropping ridiculous money.
It was nice. So they were in the south stand, so they went off and I was wandering around the back of the stadium to get to my set, and they moved the entrance because of the away supporters, and I ended up having to walk all the way back again. And when I was doing that, I bumped into an old school friend, Helen, who went to school with her from 11 till like 16. She's a season ticket holder for decades, her and her husband. They're quite funny. They don't sit next to each other. He sits behind her because he's embarrassed because she's very loud during matches.
Sounds like Helen needs to come on the podcast, mate.
Yeah. She's got some opinions. She'd be quite good, and because they've got so many tickets, they go home and away every match, so they're everywhere, and they'll be going to the Frankfurt game as well, I would imagine.
So, talking about the attendance,
yeah.
Did the club, was it like the FA Cup where Alkmaar got extra attendance, or is it?
No, actually, I think they had less. I don't know, but it looked like usually the the away support has the kind of all the around the the north side corner, but it looked like they only had the east side section of it.
They're making a fair bit of noise. I don't know.
Yeah, I have to be honest though, I didn't give them much to cheer about. I thought they were poor actually on the night compared to. I thought they were much better at home, But yeah, anyway, so I think the stadium was about. I think the official attendance was 58,300. So about 4,000 off. Yeah. I could see gaps around the top of the north stand, so it wasn't completely full. And also, more importantly, I didn't recognise a single person around from was in my normal season ticket seat. Not a single person in the 2 rows behind and in front of me was their regular season ticket holder in that seat. So there's a lot of people. Some of them, the couple guys next to me, it was we've done about 2-3 games this season. So it was a relatively inexpensive ticket. It was like 35 quid. So I think a lot of people would have been seeing their first game, which I was a bit disappointed at. Like for a round of 16 European match, would have expected. Our entire season rested on that game.
Oh, really?
And the attendance wasn't that great.
And getting into the game itself, like I'm going to start at closer to the end. But to your point, when Alkmaar scored from the best way I can describe it, and fuck up. Yeah. I was never that worried because I didn't think they were playing very well. And the only way they were going to score for me was either something like that or like a moment of brilliance, like a screamer or something. I didn't think they created a great deal, and we seemed to have enough going forward. I wasn't that bothered. I thought we would get another goal even when they scored.
You could see the marked difference in the stadium. I don't know if it came across on TV, where on 60 Minutes when Van der Ven went off. And I got nothing against Archie Gray, but the presence, the pace, how he reads the game, Van der Ven makes a big difference. So there was a decided drop off in organisation and accountability along the back when he went off. So the only good thing was that I can't remember, someone had to come off, didn't they? Because it's one of the midfielders, wasn't it? I forgot who it was now. And Ben Davies came on, and he went centre back, and then Gray actually got to play as a 6.
Yeah, which was great. Which was really good. Yeah, I remember the move. Yeah, and then Gray, by virtue of that, Gray got shoved forward into centre of the field. Anyway, so a good outcome really. And then we've heard that he's going to get more opportunities there.
Yes,
which is good news.
Just to cover all the general stuff, I thought the atmosphere was pretty good. I feel like the goal in the first half lifted everyone a bit. There was no negativity. And I think everyone generally, we scored some really nice goals.
Yeah.
And when we play like that, it's compelling to watch. It really is. But we never make it easy on ourselves, right? There was one or two times we're always going to give teams chances. And a better team might have punished us more. But, I'll take it. We'll take the result for sure.
And you've mentioned it, and then obviously in the notes that I'm looking at, but Odeberg obviously got the opener, but he grew into the game, didn't he? He had a really good game, and I really liked it was after his third goal. He seems quite shy and doesn't want the accolades, but everyone was giving it to him, and that was really nice to see. So it's kind of what could have been with him in terms of the course of the season. So let's hope in these last couple of months of the season we can really start to get some regular minutes from him, and because he's contributed, arguably, he's contributed in that game more than a lot of them have, across many games.
And it's nice to see he can play either side, and he can take a player on both sides.
Yeah, this is it.
His interplay and passing was really effective as well. So, like, some of the build-up play for the goals was great. It was really nice to see. Finally, we're playing the ball forwards, and I like that. What was interesting, at the beginning of the game, I messaged Thomas and said, I don't think playing Bergvall at 6. We started with him as a 6, didn't we?
I think...
I was like... I
know what you were going to say. So we're on the same page with that. And I thought he had a good game, though.
He did. This is the thing, is I was like, I just don't think we don't get the best out. For me, he's really good at bringing the ball out of the defence and driving us up the pitch. But actually, he read the ball 2 or 3 times. He made fantastic interceptions to really shut things down, and then to restart the attack, he did really well. And I still don't think that's his position. But he did a better job.
I said, I know he's with mates here. I was like, are we getting the best out of about having him deeper there? But just on your point defensively, right? And I wouldn't normally call the stat out like this because I think percentages can be misleading, but 100% of ground duels won, 7 out of 7. Right, that's not a small insignificant number in a game, right?
I'd have him there over Bissouma any day.
Bissouma, and we can probably not too distant future in terms of once we're into the transfer window again. But Bissouma for me,
funnily enough, while I was waiting for you to drop these in Liam off, I was watching a video and it said like that Bissouma was on the no longer needed list in the summer, and I wouldn't be surprised. I guess it will depend on who's the manager. I guess over the summer period, whether someone new might want to give him a chance or not, I don't know. But
he's not dynamic. He's erratic. I think he's got attitude issues. I mean, I think he's meant to be. He's meant to be one of the older ones. Now, having said that, the recent clearance off the line, fair enough. He was there to do it, but he's 28, and I don't think he's really led by example. So maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I expected a lot more from him. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah,
in terms of what we got.
And also worth mentioning, although he didn't score, Solanke was really important in that match.
Yes, and he came through it unscathed, seemingly.
Yeah, he laid on 2 of the goals, right, and I just felt that his involvement he was a real handful. And you could see the difference having a real focal point for the attacks. Yeah. Even if he's got his back to goal, he's good at bringing other players into the game.
And interestingly, obviously he's gone with Odegaard, and Tell didn't get any minutes. So I wonder if we'll see Tell this weekend. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I mean, it was an interesting selection in that it raised a few eyebrows for me and Odegaard, but then he's obviously coming and he's... you could argue, how can he drop Odegaard for the Fulham game on that performance? But then you think, well, we're a month away now from the quarterfinals, so maybe he does play himself into that Fulham game, and then we start to get a bit of a rhythm with those players.
Yeah, but the other option is you could rest some, play Odegaard on the left and Tell on the right, or I don't think they could probably both play either side, but just if you wanted something a bit different, I think both of them would. We'll see. We'll come to the Fulham game in a bit.
Just going back to the Alkmaar performance, I thought Maddison had a really good game. Like I thought he had one of his 5.
Yeah. I was again. That's what we need from him. I thought he played really well. Again, we were making progress up the pitch, and he was a part of that. And that's when he's like that, and he's setting the pace of the game, and we're making chances, but not just the chances themselves, but getting into dangerous areas in the pitch. He's really important at that. But he needs the players to run off him, and that I think it's where Odegaard and Solanke we've got good movement off the ball, trying to find space for themselves. I think he worked quite well.
Yeah, I agree. So looking ahead to the quarterfinals is obviously not just our game I want to look at, but we are on the side of the drawn. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself, which I've done a lot on this podcast this season, so I'm going to try not to do that, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's all shaping up, as I'm calling it, for a Paul Gascoigne derby semi-final.
Yeah.
Which, if that was to happen, he's got to be a guest from both Lazio for their leg and us for our leg. He has to be. But they got Bodo Glimt, right, Lazio?
Yeah.
And then obviously we got Frankfurt, but importantly, are we home the first leg or away?
Home first.
Right, okay. So I don't know how I feel about that. I think
at the end of the day, we're gonna have to beat him over 2 legs. I'm not too bothered. I suppose it would be good to do the away leg first, preferably. But
yeah,
if we can get a good lead in at home, then it doesn't really matter, does it? Either.
Correct. And then the other side of the draw, we've got 2 other British clubs who are quite well represented in this last game. You've got Rangers against Bilbao, who are, let's not forget, the hosts of the final. So they've got a big incentive there. And then a few seasons ago, this would have been a huge Champions League game. Lyon, Man United. So that's the makings of a decent game. So And also, I keep saying it, but the fact that we don't have Champions League third place finishers dropping in just really, for me, opens this tournament up in terms of opportunity, because you're playing what you've seen, right? You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Not saying we're going to win it. I think Frankfurt's an incredibly difficult game, but it's just about a month away. We've got time to get some rhythm. Let's hope. And then, will you be attending the first leg? Are you going to get a ticket for that? I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff.
I've been offered a ticket for the away game.
Ooh.
Which I don't
In the
think...
Frankfurt end, or
No. Well, although that might be possible as well, but no. I'm thinking about it. My friend Rob's offered me a ticket, but I don't think I'll be able to go.
I will not tell you how to live your life, but I would say yes to that. And if you do go, I would love a little soundbite from somewhere or someone
I would
on the way or outside the stadium.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Just thinking about Lyon, while you mentioned Lyon, I have a friend who's a Corinthians fan, and Memphis Depay went from Lyon to Corinthians.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's playing in Corinthians, and he was their biggest signing, like, by some way, and now he's overweight. He's not performing. He's difficult in the dressing room. Just thought it was we kind of predicted that would be the case, and it's come to pass. A bit of a mess at the moment, Corinthians. So
I'm not sure.
There you go. Bit of international football for you.
Yeah, there we go. A little. Well, Corinthians. It reminds me of my old. I say he's a mate. I met him once, but I had Tim Vickery on my podcast I used to do many years ago in Colorado, and South American football expert, but Tottenham fan. Could be a good opportunity for a guest there. So I'll just remind him. I'll drop Tim Vickery a note and see if he wants to come on Home and Away, because he's perfectly placed for Home and Away.
Yeah. He's married to a Brazilian, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's a really good guest, as you'd expect, and he's really insightful, and he just has an eye on all things South American. I'll ping him a note. But talking about Home and Away, our next game in about a day and a bit. Well, it's tomorrow, isn't it, for you? So
yeah,
tomorrow, Arbo. Fulham away.
It's a weird time kickoff. It's like 1:30 kickoff, I think.
I think they've done that.
Local time final. It's because of the League final. Yeah,
League Cup final.
I've kind of blanked that from my memory. I don't want to watch any crap.
Yeah,
it doesn't exist. As soon as we go out, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, Fulham, where are they in the league? They've been pretty good this season.
You haven't read me notes, have you?
Really, I'll 10. I'm looking at it now. There we go. Haven't read your notes. Now I'm reading them.
So that they've only one more game than us this season, but they've drawn a lot more. So there's not that much difference between us in terms of games won, which means they must have lost a lot of games as well. But then I guess maybe expectations are slightly less, but they're doing okay.
But they seem to win games that maybe you think they wouldn't, right?
True, yeah.
They won away to Newcastle. They beat Forest, and then did they lose to Palace? I think they had Wolves, yeah, and then narrow loss to Brighton. So, look, our league games are going to be really interesting to watch from here out, because he's got to get it right, hasn't he? In terms of not so much performances and results, which are important, because I can't see us finishing much above 10th or 9th place. But it's now getting that rhythm and getting Van der Ven and Romero back in the side on a regular basis, probably with a bit of an eye on the European run, right?
If he's got any hope of being our manager at the beginning of next season, he needs to show us in the next 10 games that it is just the injuries that have been the issue. He needs to show us that actually, when he's got everyone available to him, that he can do this. Because I think the jury is out and we need to be convinced again. So he's got the chance, right? He's got the opportunity. I don't think he'll be gone. I think, well, if you think about it right now, April the 17th is the second European leg. Yeah. So by the time he's played that, it's only about 6 weeks to the end of the season, right? So there's no point by that stage making a change, I don't think.
No.
So he's got between now and the end of the season to show us. What I'd like to see is a 10-game run like the first 10 games of his first season with us. Something convincing, that shows with everyone available, we're able to turn it on and we're able to get results. Because there's still some really tough games in that. last 10 games, right? Got Liverpool, Chelsea.
Yeah, they've done
yeah.
them. Forest, we've played twice.
Forest, we've got.
Forest at home. So, yeah, there's some tricky games coming up. And looking ahead to the Fulham game, I assume this is what will happen. You would think Bentancur probably comes back in because he was suspended pre-Europe.
I would imagine so.
And then I think you start Van der Ven and Romero again. And then
I do.
Give Van der Ven till 60 minutes, 65 minutes, and maybe even bring Davies in at left centre-back.
What I'm not sure about is is there something wrong with the Udogie? Like, is he injured? Or does he come back in and Spence make either Porro or Spence plays on the right? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if I've not seen any mention of it, but he could easily come back in as well. And then maybe Johnson comes in for that game instead of Odegaard, or Odegaard switches to the left and some as an option. I don't know. We've got a few players that can play in those roles.
Yeah. I don't know if my listeners can hear this, but it's absolutely hammering it down outside.
So they're full wets is what you're saying, right?
I think so. I've got, and this is a massive pivot to not football, but I've got a feeling Hamilton might do quite well today because he loves
he does, yeah.
Yeah.
I could just mean there are 10 laps in, it'll be box, box, box.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, back to the sporting question. I think Fulham away, like you said, I agree entirely with what you said, right, in terms of not only does Ange have to do what you've just said, but he's kind of said he has to do that himself because he said for the last few weeks or months, wait until we get all of our players back. We've got so much talent missing. So I would love to see that run and have it incorporate into the Europa run as well, and get some wins. Now, as far as the team, if Johnson comes in, Odegaard on the bench, do you see Tell coming in then for Son on the other side? Getting a rest?
I don't know which way I expect to see a few changes. Not a lot. I think I'm hoping that there's players that need, like Odegaard really needs a run of games if he's going to.
Yeah.
He's had virtually no football this season, and then now he's started to hit a bit of form. Kind of would like to see. And let's be honest, right? We've got this game, then it's the international break. So he's going away with the French under-21s, I think.
Yeah, him and Tell both.
Yeah. So then, but when he's back, we've got only one game a week until the second week of April. That's after Easter. So no, it's not like there's going to be a strenuous run of like two or three games a week. So there's no reason to rest them.
Well, and the other one that I think we do miss massively, and maybe
Kulusevski.
Yeah, he manages minutes as he becomes fit, but I think between him and Maddison, as far as the Europa League goes, those two are really important because they are ones that can unlock a defence and actually pick a pass, and they're just those two. For all of Maddison's frustrations that I have with him, those two are ones that just have that creativity, don't they? And that's something a little bit different.
I know his legs are built like biscuits, but I'd like to see Richarlison back just to have another striker on the bench so that we can rotate Solanke so we don't wear him out as well. It's the same thing, really. I just having the depth in the squad means that we don't overplay players.
Well, and if Richarlison gives you nothing, sometimes what he will do is you can stick him out on the left wing and he'll run the channel really well for you.
Or even if
tremendously hard.
Even if you can bring him on for 20 minutes and it avoids Solanke getting an injury, then it's time. It's worth it. Right?
Take this for what it's worth. It's on FOTMob, but according to FOTMob, our injury list, so Richarlison a calf injury a few days, so read into that what you will. Dragosine, he's out for the season, so he's not back until October. And then Danso, early April hamstring. So
after the international break, basically.
Yeah, you think. And then Kulusevski foot injury, early April is what it says. So
similar, probably.
Yeah.
Both of them could be back for the Europa League games then.
You think so? Yeah.
Close. If not first leg, maybe second leg.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well, talking about predictions, I can't say predictions about giving ourselves a pat on the back. I think we got it spot on for the Amber game.
Both the 3-1, yes.
Yeah, so
and
I'll take that.
I basically worked out on the basis what was the minimum number of goals we needed to score to ensure that if they scored one, get another one, we'd win. And yes, it play out that way. I was feeling a bit smug in the stadium, I have to say.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I didn't have anyone that I knew there to tell how smug I was, but
yeah. So, and also we can say that we had that prediction, and people can't call us out on it because it's all been recorded.
It's a matter of public record.
Yeah, indeed. So I don't know. Prediction for Fulham, like they seem to lose games at times that they think they should. You'd think they would win, and maybe you'd put Tottenham at home into a game they should win. So maybe we get a result there. I don't know. I can see us winning it 2-1 or something.
Yeah.
But you'll go and score draw.
I'll go to. I think we can score against them, but equally, I think they're actually a decent side going forwards.
Well, Jimenez is a handful, isn't he? He always has.
He is. Yeah, and Pereira's been playing really well in midfield as well. He's the guy who kind of is their creative outlet, I guess, for them. Yeah. And I think a draw. I'd take a draw right now.
I don't think a draw's a bad result by any stretch, right? And it's just at the moment, like I said, it's almost like the performance, right? If he can get us humming and get us playing again, if you draw 2-2, playing really well, I'd take it. I'm very happy.
Yeah. Likewise.
Yeah. No, indeed. Well, before we do go, there's one thing I did want to cover, and it's our New England manager. I'm signing
a new German England manager.
Yeah, is he actually a German spy? He's just playing to our demise, because I do not understand that squad at all.
Yeah, I think he's clearly looking for different things than I thought we would be looking for. I thought that he would be looking to build a young, vibrant squad of players to play for him for probably more than the next 2 years. For me, this looks like a squad that's literally been thrown together to make sure we get a good showing at the World Cup and nothing more. There's no look to the future here, I don't. Or maybe one or two nods, but there's a lot of older players that you can only think that he's looking for experienced winners rather.
Totally.
And then I guess you could say that the teams he's pulled together at club level have been like that as well, right? He's not afraid to have, like, he bought Kane, right, for a lot of money, and he's no spring chicken. So, like, he's not afraid to bring in an older player if he thinks they're the right player for a team at the right time. So I guess you could say that. But, like, Henderson is in the squad. And I'm like, the guy's already taken his pension as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Henderson's in the squad, and also Henderson hasn't been pulling up trees at Ajax.
Is he not there anymore? Didn't he go somewhere else?
No, he's there still.
He ended up staying, did he?
He ended up staying, but again, on that, there was like, he was called out by journalists. Yeah. So, look, jury's well and truly out anyway. Look, Tuchel, no doubt about it, world-class manager. And like you said, he's been brought in to finish what Southgate tried to start, right, in terms of winning a major trophy. I think winning the World Cup's a big ask anyway, like, in terms of there's factors, but
maybe I guess you could look at it that way then, couldn't you? That he's probably got 2 years to prove that he should have it long term. Yeah, maybe he's trying to get something that'll work. Now he's on a hiding to nothing, right? Because we've got a shitty group again as usual. It's like playing the Surrey Primary League Division 7 under 12s. It's like it's really not great, and so there's no reason why we shouldn't qualify easily. And then so he doesn't really get tested until we get to the tournament, unless we play some friendlies. But again, that's never the same, right? So it's tough. I don't know. You got to pull a team together. You got to get them playing at a really high level, but you never really get the opposition to test you.
So for context for our listeners, in terms of fortunately, we're achieving what we wanted to achieve with home and away, and that we've got, as we mentioned the other time, we've got listeners in Iraq and America and various other pockets of the world. But for the benefit of our listeners, England's group is Albania, Andorra, Latvia, and Serbia. Now, Serbia is our hardest game there. If we do not top that group handsomely, there's something very wrong.
Interesting now that one of my customers does TV in Serbia.
Yeah.
And so I might have to go visit Belgrade for that on occasion. So maybe I could tie that in with the England away game. Although, probably not the most hospitable of places to play football. Let's be honest.
It's Tuesday, September 9th. So if there's a client need,
It feels like a quarterly business review.
I'm thinking the same. So very confused by that England squad. Feel very sorry for Djed Spence. I think he's been brilliant.
He's been robbed. I have no idea how he can't be in that squad.
Well, clearly ahead of him, if you look at maybe left back where he's been playing, but also right back, you've got Reece James, who seems to play a game every 3 years, and then Cole Walker, who, for me, again, serial winner experience, yes, but he's on the other side of what? He's 34?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean,
I'm not in. And then there's he's picked a couple of the Arsenal youngsters as well, right?
Yes, he certainly has.
The ones with no discipline issues whatsoever.
So Kyle Walker will be 35 by the time the World Cup starts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So bit confused by that. Anyway, back to Spurs. I didn't have a great deal more about Spurs other than to say,
what about the Como game?
Oh yes, that is about Spurs. I'll let you deliver that news.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
So I'm in a group here with some old Spurs boys. They live in Melbourne. And I woke up this morning to some messages from one of them, Chris. And he said, have you seen what Dele Alli's done? And then he sent the link. And I feel really sorry for him. It was actually on Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And Walker goes over to the ref and tries to appeal to get the red overturned. But Dele Alli, 9 minutes into his return of professional football, really sent off straight red. And for our listeners, if you can go and find it, I think it's very harsh. I don't think there's a great deal of malice or intent to hurt there. I think it's just a bit clumsy. So yeah, Dele Alli is back, and then he's not back.
Yeah, I feel bad. Finally gets on the pitch.
Yeah, really bad. Really.
Yeah, never mind. I'm sure he'll be back again. So something else I forgot to mention. I had quite a lot of trouble getting away from the stadium on Thursday.
Because we were messaging live, and you said it was a bit annoying.
So got to Seven Sisters. There was a lot of people and nothing was moving. It's like the underground doesn't know there's going to be a lot of people on a match night and don't put enough trains on. So they have basically like human traffic lights. So they keep stopping people from moving to allow the platforms to clear. And so it took from the point I got to Seven Sisters, it took me 25 minutes to get on a platform to get on the train. Once you got on the platform,
you got down the stairs, which is always a bit of a nightmare, and then all the way
down the escalators
from basically top to bottom.
Yeah. So that was a pain. And I'm looking at my watch thinking, last train's not that far away now. So as it was, I got to Waterloo, got on the train, sat there for a bit, and this guy came sat opposite, and I we'd done about half the journey, and I noticed he had an 80 and 82 tattoo on his hand. So I said, were you at the game? He was like, and we got chatting. Nice, really lovely guy. Grant Curran. Apparently there's a history of Tottenham book, and he's in that. So he's met a lot of the players, and he's involved in some way in the archive history of the club. So he said he's going to have a listen to the podcast. So, and I said,
love to have you on.
Exactly. I said that. I really connect with him on Instagram, and hopefully we can have a chat with him, and we can get him on. He can talk a bit about that. That'd be quite interesting. But yeah, so I just started talking to random strangers. That's my new gig now for the trips home. I'm going to pick the wrong one time, and I'm going to get into trouble. But yeah, he was a really nice guy. So yeah,
good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Well, getting away and getting to where we live, or where I'm from, where you live, is notoriously a bloody nightmare. Like that Man United game that we attended together with my son, I didn't get back to my mum's until 10 to 1 in the morning.
Yeah, I was home about half 12. So from for final whistle, 2.5 hours.
Well, unfortunately, and you met him, my nephew who works on the trains and is always been massively into trains. Long story short, we ended up in King's Cross because he had been texting with a colleague or an ex-colleague or a colleague, and he said, look, there is a train that stops in Reading, but it doesn't actually stop in Reading. They just refill their food and all of their stuff because it's the Penzance sleeper. He said, we can probably get on that. And I was like, is this actually a train that stops at Reading though? And he goes, it does, but it kind of doesn't. I go, what do you mean it doesn't? He goes, well, it stops there, but it's not an official stop.
All you need to know is, are they going to open the doors? Because otherwise, Penzance is a fucking long way away. you're gonna wake up in Penzance. Well, I'm going fish and chips on the end of the pier then. Yeah.
So now it's a similar story we got back, and it's such an arduous journey. Any of our listeners that have not done a Tottenham night game, my recommendation would be just stay somewhere in London if you can.
It's getting across London's it's not great. But then Rico and his friend, they left quite early to miss the traffic, because the issue is if you drive from anywhere other than the north side of the M25, it's a nightmare getting around the M25. Traffic's most times of the day is bad. Rush hour, it can be anything for it. It could take me between an hour and a half and 4 hours to get to a match on a match day. So, but they drive to Theobald's Grove, which is on the Liverpool Street line. So it's the line that goes to Tottenham.
And then bounce on that to get to White Lane.
So it works there quite nicely. And I've done it before, but I can't leave as early as they did. So I can't leave till about like 4. And that could be a problem because you start in traffic on the M25 and then you might miss half the game or all of the game.
Yeah.
So this, for me, at least the trains are a pain in the arse, but it's more predictable, I guess. So you can take a chance. And also, I've also parked close to the stadium, but it's like 20 quid for a parking spot, which is pretty steep.
Yeah, no, indeed. One that we didn't cover, which I mentioned, the kickoff time for the Fulham game coming up. Is it on TV there? Because it's right at the same.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is officially on normal TV.
Yeah, you've got Arsenal-Chelsea will be the main game on Sky, I expect, and that's all at the same time.
Yeah, 1:30 kickoff, so I don't think it is on TV, but I'll find a way.
Good stuff. 12:30 a.m. for me on a Monday morning, so I'll just watch that when I get up.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm not expecting it to be a barnstormer, but I've been wrong before.
Indeed, you could have done with like a 4-2 or 4-3 special or something.
Oh no, good start. I just want another good performance. Let's turn up for the first 45 minutes. Yeah, because that sets the tone for the entire match. If we don't turn up for the first half, we can write the game off, as far as I'm concerned, because we're not good at chasing games. Because once we start chasing a game, we'll leave ourselves even more open at the back.
Indeed.
And teams will hit us on the counter.
Importantly for our listeners as well, this is our last game until the 3rd of April because of the international break. So Graham and I will huddle up and see when the next episode will come out. But we were potentially speaking to our guest that we had in Hong Kong about a special on some of the economics of football, right?
Yeah. We should definitely reach out to David, get him on again. Yeah, a few other things as well. We'll have a think about it and we can come up with some creative ideas for how we could do one on all of our international players and how they're getting on for their countries.
Yeah, sure. So look out for that. Look out for that for our listeners. But yes, well,
anything to pass the time for the international break, which is always...
There's interest from me because it's Tuchel, but then as soon as he announced that squad, I'm like, oh, fucking hell, I've got what Henderson play again for England. We've done that.
Yeah, and let's be honest, right? Solanke's not going to get much game time. No. As much as I think he's doing really well, if Harry Kane's fit, Harry Kane's going to play.
Yeah, totally.
And he's not going to play strikers.
Well, exactly right. Indeed. Onwards, let's hope for a positive, big performance. Let's hope for good football. Hopefully we can get the win, score, draw. I'll take though if it's a good performance. But come on, you Spurs.
Thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tick all the algorithms so we can get in front of more Tottenham supporters. And to close us out, as Glenn said, come on, you Spurs.
You can contact us on email at tottenhamhomeandaway@gmail.com or on Twitter X @TottenhamH&A.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.